And let me turn to you first. Speaking of the Trump administration, one of the political characters we like most to cover is headed that direction, Sheriff Clarke.
Or at least it appears. He announced that he is taking a job with the Department of Homeland Security. The job's been described as sort of a police or law enforcement liaison, where he'll be working with law enforcement community around the country and speaking on behalf of the Trump administration on those issues. But as with everything with Sheriff Clarke, there was some drama. First of all, the Department of Homeland Security has not yet confirmed the appointment. And then secondly, the guy he's replacing had a little Twitter flip out yesterday saying, I've worked really hard to establish bipartisan relations, and now here comes the guy who says he wants to choke Democrats. So, yeah.
And not only has Homeland Security not announced it, they actually tweeted saying we haven't made this, or we haven't made any announcement, no announcement has come. So it's like, not only is it silence, it's basically like, no, this actually hasn't happened yet.
So you do have to wonder if he got his cart before his horse in this particular situation.
Maybe he should have held his horses.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry.
So if Sheriff Clarke does take the job, and it looks like he is, let's talk a little bit about his record here in Milwaukee County. He came in, I think, soon after he was first named to the job. There's a lot of hope he could be pretty good at this job.
Yeah, he did come in with a fair bit of hope, and early on he had bipartisan support. Yep. He had Republican support in him. His first campaign was run by Bill Christopherson, a prominent Democrat who ran Jim Doyle's campaigns, and many people thought that he would represent something new, and he did represent something new. There's no one else who is as inflammatory as polarizing as he is. I mean, even though he runs as a Democrat, he's probably the most conservative person holding office, certainly in Milwaukee County right now.
But he really wasn't in those early years that inflammatory, was he? I don't recall him being.
I think he moved over time. I don't think it was like a dramatic shift. He moved onto the national stage in 2014 with his victory after Mayor Bloomberg and Chris Abele spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to beat him, and then the NRA stepped in and helped save his career. And at that point, he became a spokesman on police issues nationally. With the Ferguson riots going on, he was the spokesman on behalf of the cops, a critic of those who of Black Lives Matter and other groups like that. And then he's just elevated from there when he endorsed Trump in May of 2016. But he did do some, when you think if this is just something that's happened the last 2 years, he's provided me good fodder ever since the beginning. So
what will you do without him if he leaves?
I don't know. Let's hope he continues to come back to town and do stuff. But and actually, one thing is, if and when he takes this job, one legacy that he's going to have is a boatload of lawsuits. There are a number of federal lawsuits out there, mainly regarding the jail, and the jail will be the thing that continues to trail him as he goes to Washington.
That was the thing that everyone was talking about on Twitter, nationally, at least yesterday when the news broke. 4 dead in the jail last year. 4 dead
in the jail last year, and this dehydration death where it seems like his water was turned off and this man was potentially never given water for days until he died. And it doesn't sound like anybody even gave him bottled water that we know of. So, and that is ongoing. There could be potential charges for jail staff.